Hi there guys, and welcome back to another FPV guide video. Today we are going to be taking a look at a Cheerson CX-33. This is obviously not exactly the type of equipment I usually play with and look at. However, I keep hearing about Cheerson and all of the different incredibly cheap, let's not call them cheap, but inexpensive products that they manufacture. So I'm kind of always been curious, what can you really get for $100? And thanks to my friend Frank from carolinadrones.com, I'm sure you're familiar with him because I've mentioned him before. He is the purveyor of high-end great drones with great customer service. And we were talking about it, and he turned around and shipped me a stack of CX and Cheerson products. So I have 3 Cheerson product reviews coming up here shortly, thanks to Frank at carolinadrones.com. So let's get straight to it. This is the CX-33, and it has kind of a hokey design, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I'm used to carbon fiber designs and things like the Phantom. So these designs always makes me go, what on earth is this? But I cracked it open, I had it flying, and I gotta tell you, this flies a lot better than I anticipated. So let's take a quick, here you can see on the front, it's what's called a Y6. And actually in larger products, this is one of my favorite configurations because they're very stable and very smooth, where a quad with 4 motors tend to be a little aggressive. The 6 motors actually are smoother for shooting video. Let's turn the box around and see if there's anything interesting. It shows that there is a control that looks very much like a regular traditional RC radio. It has directions, right, left, forward, back. You can switch mode. You can start or stop recording a video, and it comes with a screen. This particular one here, and somewhere here tells us it's available as the CX-33C, the CX-33W, which is for Wi-Fi, and the CX-33S, which has a 5.8 gigahertz video transmission, and that's the one we're looking at here. Now, this is the box, comes with a nice little carry handle. Frankly, the included plastic case or plastic thing is cheap, like you would expect for something in the $100 range. Oh, and these 3 models here, these models, the C, W, and S model, can be had anywhere from about $75 to $130 depending where you find them and what kind of bargains you get on them. So today we're looking at a product that can be had ready to fly without a camera for $75. Keep that in mind when we start criticizing. So, done with the box. And to save time, I already liberated all of the stuff from the box. Right here is the actual aircraft, and as you can see, for each side there is 2 motors, a top propeller and a bottom propeller. This particular one comes with a camera that takes a micro SD card, and it is a 2S battery. The battery is inside this little box here. So if you open up, you can see the battery in here. You can actually pop it out. I kind of bent the lid a little bit so that the balance tab sticks out, and that way I can charge this thing without removing the battery. But before we get into that, let's take a look at what was in the box. Obviously, as you can tell, there was an aircraft. It also came with a radio. Here's the radio. The radio has little protectors, I'm always fascinated with these little foam tubes, and I'm kind of wondering what I can use them for because they're so neat. They're to protect the sticks. And here's the radio. Up on top here is a 5.8 receiving screen. Inside in the back goes 4 AAAs. This is one of the low points, but again, what do you get for $100? Basically, these AAAs seems to burn out in about 4 flights. So you probably want to get some rechargeable batteries. Down in the bottom here also goes 4 AA's, and they last quite long because there's no screen, that's just for the receiver. So that's quite successful. It's kind of interesting, this is an old style Chinese product because it also has a little Phillips screw right here to screw and unscrew to open and close the battery compartment. Modern products tend to lose or make do without a Phillips screw. But this is obviously a little bit older style engineering and probably an indication that the molds are not quite as accurate as a more expensive piece. To adjust the screen up here, we have a little Allen wrench right here, a little finger screw, to put it right, that allows me to do like that. And on the screen right here is a button I can press to get the channel. And it has been marked by not by silk screening or printing the screen, but by putting a sticker on the screen. So that's obviously done differently. Over here on the radio, there's a number of buttons. There is the frequency for the video. Then we have start, stop for taking pictures. And we have the auto start and auto land. So that's pretty much all you need here. We have the traditional sticks, and right now it's set up in mode 2, the way I usually flies, which means throttle is on the left hand. Alright, let's look at what else is in here. There is also a set of propeller guards. If you're new at flying, I would highly recommend installing those right away. And I really do like, this comes with a couple of screwdrivers and a set of screws. So it comes with everything you need to operate this kit. Put these down. There's also a set of spare propellers. But frankly, why on earth does anybody ship multi-rotors with just 2 spare propellers? That said, I have flown probably 5 batteries so far and I've not managed to crash it. So maybe the spare propellers is not such a big issue. Anyway, there you have it. That's the propellers. And moving on, there's a user manual. Let's be frank, this is not exactly the nicest looking manual, but it has all the information, and I was able to put this thing together and get flying very easily with this manual. So there's really no reason to knock it. It's functional and it's less than $100 for the entire kit. Now, the charging system. Here is your charging device. You'll notice that's a USB plug and it fit into my laptop. What you do is you grab the balance tap right here and you push the balance tap into the charging thing like that, and then you plug this into your laptop and you're charging. I have actually been using the charger from my iPad. I have an iPad Pro and it came with a quite aggressive charger, and still with this charger it takes me, so I just basically plug this right into the charger and now it's ready to connect to the wall. It still takes about an hour to charge the battery, so obviously this is not a super fast charger, and if you're gonna do multiple flights and like to fly a lot, I would get an extra battery. Having said that, I was surprised because this is a 2S, a small 2S battery, and I expected it to burn out in a couple of minutes. And I have actually managed to get about 6.5, 7 minutes of flight time on this. If you had asked me, I would never have guessed that. So that is a positive. I can't believe it was possible at all. Now, down here there is a camera. And as usual, you can see the little antenna for the camera right here. Basically, you probably want to fold that out so it comes down a little bit to get better reach. This entire system here was not a long-range system. Video and the system, I've been out to maybe 50 meters most, and I would not recommend going further. This is not a video system meant to go 1 kilometer, 1.5 miles out there. Try to go 50 yards, but it's also really small and it's a low power. Trust me, if you get a gust of wind, this thing is gonna move with it. There's a big body here and it really grabs the wind. The upside to this big body is it moves slowly. So if you're a new user, you're gonna find it's really easy to practice flying with this thing. Now, moving to the camera, I'm just gonna play some video for you right here on the screen. It is 720, but it's actually surprisingly good. And I would go ahead and right away take a Sharpie and color the bottom propellers here black or gray. Then they will be less annoying in the picture because, as you can see, they come around and it goes into the picture. You can adjust the angle by just kind of grabbing the camera and twisting it. And you can also see it's a very, very narrow picture, which frankly I consider somewhat useless for FPV. But here's what I would do. I would simply grab one of those magnetic aftermarket lenses for cell phones. I would put a metal ring on here with some epoxy and stick the magnetic lens on, and bingo, you're ready to fly, and you got a wide angle lens. So now you got a much better and much more useful image just like that for maybe 10 bucks. And considering the overall thing here with the camera is about $125, frankly, I can spend $10 on that lens. So that's pretty much the aircraft. Now let's fire it up and see what happens. I already connected the battery on the inside. I've also connected, you can see this cable here, from the camera to the controller, or to the little power outlet down here. And to turn it on, we just flip this little switch. So before we do that, I'm going to turn on the side of the screen here. That comes on. I'm going to turn the radio on, and then I'm going to turn on the aircraft, and I'm going to put it down. The reason I put it down is this thing needs to initialize the IMU, so it has to sit for a little bit so it figures out, and you can see now the red light stopped blinking. It needs to figure out what is level, because without knowing what is level, it's not going to fly as good. It would fly if you start it up a little bit on an angle, but I always recommend turn it on, put it on a flat surface, and you're going to get a much better performance from that little aircraft. Now I did check, and this video camera, the video transmitter 5.8 here, does not work with my Fat Shark goggles. I do believe it will work with the Fat Shark beta channels receiver that has 40 channels. And to test that, I grabbed the screen from the View XL goggles. And if you are looking for a budget goggle, I highly recommend the View XL. And because it has all the channels, it's very simple. Anyway, this is just a screen. And I turned it on, and as you can maybe see there, can you see that? Here's a picture. So that means in the regular 40 channels that's typically used, probably on one of the bus cam channels, this one shows up and you have got video. So you should be able to use this with Sky Zone goggles or with beta channel FPV goggles from Fat Shark. But again, this camera is too narrow. So frankly, if you're gonna fly FPV, you've got to put a wide angle lens in front so that you can see more. It's impossible to fly FPV with really narrow angles. So here's the screen, and you can also see that they've also got image here. This screen here is better, but it's a surprisingly good little screen here, frankly. And up here on the screen, it shows us how much battery we've got left. It also shows us that right now there's no SD card. I'm just gonna grab a micro SD card here. I'm gonna put it in here. It goes with the contacts up, right in here. Push it down. Now the light turned blue, and now when you look right here, you can see, and I'm just gonna push one time, and now I've got a blinking red button right there. So now that we are recording, and I have video on this screen here, I can put it over here in the background. I like to fold out that little stand on the back. It's actually meant to go on a tripod. There, now I can see. We're gonna put this thing right here, and I'm gonna back my nose up. Before I started, you have probably noticed that usually I remove the propellers, but this one here does not have brushless motors. It's got 3 small brushed motors. I believe it's 3, and they're somehow geared to run both propellers. And because of that, I already tested this with my finger. These are really low power. They are slow moving propellers, which is wonderful because they fly for a long time and they're very energy efficient. So for once, I'm not terribly scared of this aircraft. Let's start it up. And I can't start it and just have a spin here. So this is gonna pop in the air, and I'm gonna fly it and give you a little bit of video of me flying, and then I'll finish telling you about it. And so let's get going, and here we go. Ready? The up and down is a little bit rough. Now to land it, we just push the one button landing. That's it, it's landed itself, so it's one button takeoff and it's one button landing. You have seen the video. I'm going to stop this recording. That's the little video camera here. Now, that's not super high quality. Now, what surprised me was this is actually powerful enough to pick up my Mobius camera. And that's why I was mentioning the $75 price that I said, remember that, because this will work without the built-in camera. So you could buy this one without the camera, without this screen, and simply use a Mobius camera. Just stick it right on and lap a rubber band around it. I don't know if you can see how I did that, but I'm just gonna smack it around. Everything is pretty flexible here, so I think that's successful. Kind of like that. There you have it. And it's in place. So to start the Mobius, we just push right here and let go. And the next thing I want to show you that's also interesting if you go with the $75 option and if you're interested in FPV. Obviously, if you're watching my videos, you're probably interested in FPV. One of my favorite little gadgets these days is the VA1100 camera from Horizon Hobby. These things are $80. Let me put this open. Inside here you have the little camera. You see what I'm looking at? Here is a camera with a built-in transmitter, and it is incredibly small. Let's get that out of the little. It comes in two cases. It comes with a little extra extension cable. But bottom line is, here you go. There is an incredibly little camera right here. And this camera, piece of double-sided tape right on top here, and also get one of the small batteries that you get to go that fits one of these. They're probably $5, and you're ready to fly. Now you got a real Fat Shark compatible wide-angle FPV camera, and this $80 camera you can put on a lot of different toys. So that all of a sudden makes this quad completely FPV capable. So check out this little thing if you're at all interested in flying this FPV, because it's gonna give you no lag, high quality FPV video. So that's pretty much it. Here it is with my Mobius bundle done, and I'm gonna get you a little more video showing what it looks like with the Mobius right outside here. That's it. Thank you for watching. I've got more of these coming up, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more FPV guide videos. And I can't forget to mention this video was sponsored by carolinadrones.com, who brings you the latest in new drones. Now, having said that, I'm gonna stop talking and go shoot a little bit more video before the light disappears outside.